Okay. 3 more days until the election. 3 more days. And the thing is, let's be clear. I know a lot of us are tired with this election cycle. A lot of us are tired of all this conversation about politics. But, hey, it is what it is. And this is what this election is all about. But again, I want to return back to Joe Rogan because vice presidential or running mate, JD Vance, actually was on the Joe Rogan podcast for about 4 hours. Kamala Harris was given an opportunity to be on his show, and it's an opportunity missed. I mean, it's a way to get more voters, maybe more attention to your campaign. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I would do it. But then again, Democrats, you don't like to win. You like to lose. And if you do win, you still find a way to lose because you never follow through with your promises, Democrats. So JD Vance was actually on the show, but there's a lot to break down. And the thing is, it's just all more of the same. But the thing is, the difference between this interview and anything that Kamala Harris has done is that there's a clear problem with Kamala and her ability to be authentic and organic with people. So I want to pull this video up here.
We're thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be in Pennsylvania. We actually recorded an episode of Joe Rogan this morning. So we started out in Austin, Texas. And we're closing out. How
long was it, JD? How long were you in Rogan?
Almost 4 hours.
Oh. And I know that Tulsi is just, again, I have my criticism for people joining the Republican Party, but I'm just willing to bet that somewhere out there in the back of her mind, Tulsi's just like, yeah, Kamala, you can't do a 3-hour or 4-hour interview, can you?
Was it JD? How long were you in Rogan?
Almost 4 hours. Almost 4 hours. So I've officially done more interview time than Kamala Harris has the entire campaign just today. So.
And see, the thing is, she was made fun of. Kamala's made into a joke. Here's Rogan and JD Vance roasting on Kamala. I mean, there's a lot they talked about, and let's face it. I mean, you could break down what a politician is saying and what they're going to do, but in regards to campaign promises, if you expect a politician to follow through with anything, they never do.
Joe Biden, I think at this point in time, he's literally that crazy guy on the porch yelling at the neighbors. I mean, no one thinks he's there, which is also one of the fascinating things when they asked her, when did you know that he was mentally impaired and why didn't you talk about it earlier? And there's this, Joe Biden has always done the amazing work that Joe Biden does. It's just like this. Like, where are you going? Yeah. You want to get the lights that they use in the air traffic controller. Like, come this way. Yeah, come this way. Help her out. Do you think she wears an earpiece?
I wouldn't be surprised. I have no idea.
The earpiece one was amazing.
But man, she just
Bluetooth thing. The earring.
It's astonishing. She talks. The only way I can describe it is she talks in circles.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yes. To be unburdened by what has been and not know be. To be burdened wherever is. We are a great country, and Joe Biden is as sharp as he has been. He's always been good, and Joe Biden has been great. He's been a strong leader that people follow. I mean, come on, Kamala, Mamala, you are the world heavyweight champion in word salads.
It's like
Tim Dillon says it's like she does gypsy curses because she speaks in gypsy curses.
That's very good. But it's, we need to build an opportunity economy, because if Americans don't have opportunity, then they're not going to have the opportunity to be Americans. And it's like, what the hell?
The opportunity to generate wealth and generational wealth. Like, wait a minute. Do you know how few people generate generational wealth? That means you have so much money, you're going to give it to other generations.
Well, but there's actually, I mean, I give a lot of speeches, so there's actually a skill to this. I think that she is the Michael Jordan of using as many words as possible to say as little as possible. There's actually a certain gift that she has, because you listen to her talk and you're 100, 200 words into it, you're 500 words into it, and you're like, what the hell did she just say? She didn't say anything.
Right.
And that actually, I mean, okay, so yeah, there's a certain political skill in saying a lot without actually saying anything. But
and that's one hell of a skill that Kamala has.
It actually worries me about her being president. Like,
Yeah, it should worry all of us. And look, Trump is probably no better, but nonetheless, folks, there are many things to break down. There was one part of the interview that really caught my attention when it came down to former Democrats and, of course, the fight for free speech and people leaving. And now, look, again, we know that Tulsi, Elon, RFK Jr. have endorsed Donald Trump, and that has boosted his numbers a lot. They're supporting him. There's a potential possibility that RFK Jr. will be part of the Trump administration, and possibly Elon Musk. Tulsi Gabbard is a big question mark. And when it comes down to free speech, as well as preserving this space, online space of not getting gutted any more than it already has been, again, were there problems under the Trump administration? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But to be clear here, all the times that Harlan's media got censored under Joe Biden's presidency. This has been the biggest struggle that myself and my colleagues, not only Harlan's media, but all of our independent media colleagues have faced off against. Do I think Trump gives a damn about free speech? Truly? I mean, look, you had that one guy with that ridiculous big coffee mug that was more than happy to start regulating internet speeds for those that might be saying something that the administration doesn't like. So if people are hoping that a Republican politician will fight for free speech, no, they won't. No, they won't. There's only a handful of authentic people that actually really do believe in free speech, and I am worried about that. That's one of my number one issues to be concerned about. Well, actually, the economy's number one. Number two is free speech, but hey, it is what it is, because after all, we're all dying here.
that a bat had gotten a weird coronavirus and had like fallen into a guy's soup at a wet,
Or
at a wet
pangolin
market.
was involved.
Yeah.
There's so much stupidity
and
involved in
that's
it.
like, that was more believable than there's the Wuhan coronavirus lab. And yeah, I remember when Tom Cotton was the first major American politician to talk about this. Tom's like a good friend, and he was immediately pilloried as this terrible racist. And it's bizarre that we're not allowed to talk about things in the United States of America. I will say, I think it's gotten better. This is one of my more.
Hey, what do you mean it's gotten better? Boy, let's Marine to Marine, because he's a Marine and I'm a Marine. No, it hasn't. No, it has not. I'll tell you about my campaign, my fight in the trenches. It's gotten better because I didn't get that freaking memo.
Optimistic views is, when we're all locked in our houses in the summer of 2020, I think that did weird things psychologically to everybody.
Agree.
And I think that a lot of people rebelled against it, and we're probably in a better position now in 2024. Like Chamath would not have come out. I love Chamath, would not have come out for Donald Trump in 2020. Right. Now he's hosting fundraisers and giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to our campaign. So I think the fact that you have so many old school liberals and old school leftists say we're done with this bullshit is actually a pretty good sign. Yeah, there's still social consequences to it, but not nearly as high as they were 4 years ago.
Well, I think when Elon purchased Twitter, it changed the entire game. Because now you have this Wild West, uncensored version of social media that's run by this super genius madman.
Hold on. Don't be calling Elon too much of a super genius. But Steak, why does Vance look like constantly has eyeliner on? Harlan's media, legitimate question. I wasn't going to say anything, but that is very on point, Steak. Good eyeballs. Good eyeballs.
And who has all the money in the world.
That's right.
It's a crazy. I mean, it's really, without him, we're in a lot of trouble, because let's say Twitter never gets purchased. They run the same way they've run.
And by the way, Miss Witchyberg says Musk buying X did nothing. Oh, yeah. A lot of people are still getting censored and suppressed there. Good friend of the show, Case Study QB, is still dealing with the fact that his account is still minimal. Like, I get. If you go to his account in incognito mode, Twitter says, hey, what you're going to see here is going to be some pretty offensive stuff. Something that you'd see on an adult entertainer kind of stuff, right? But, oh, heaven forbid, Case Study QB is only posting the most controversial of content, corporate media news. Now, it wasn't Elon Musk who did it. It actually happened under the previous administration. But Elon, come on. Lay off my friend Case Study QB, please. pretty please was a cherry on top.
On it in the past where they're being influenced by whatever companies and whatever agencies decide to remove.
And I do want to bring up this point from BW. I wouldn't say Wild West, more like that period right after the Wild West where most places had laws but still didn't really follow them. I'm going to say that, yes, you can be posting some more things on Twitter or X, that you call it now. But, and the key word is but here, people are still being suppressed on X. So, to quote Joe Biden, nothing really has fundamentally changed. It's just a different management. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. What could go wrong, my lovelies?
Remove posts or remove people and ban Donald Trump and ban a bunch of different conservatives and ban a bunch of people that were outcasts and they just decided they were controlling the discourse. Well, then you have no outlets other than Parler. And we discussed this yesterday. Those outlets 100% got infested by bots where they're putting Nazi stuff up and like, oh, this is a Nazi site. Like, no, you're the Nazi. You put it up there.
Yeah, exactly.
You poisoned it.
Exactly.
Instead of it being just a place where conservatives can go and talk about things and not be censored like they were on Twitter, then they get infiltrated with all this hate shit, and then it becomes a hateful place, and they don't even want to go. So now they're homeless.
That's right.
Well, now all of a sudden Twitter comes along. Elon comes along, has this complete shift in how he's viewing this attack on free speech. Then you have Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi. They go into the Twitter files. They find like, oh my God, like this is unconstitutional.
This was industrial scale censorship, is what it was.
And they weren't right. They
hold on. Now listen here. There are some improvements, at least I would say some on X, but again, that's minuscule in regards to the bigger problem. A lot of my colleagues, some people are still being deplatformed or censored. Some people's accounts. There's a lot of things that are happening, not just only to progressives and independents or those left leaning, but yes, even those on the right too. So there are some problems, some big problems, and I'm worried about the next 4 years. I'm worried about it because, hey, first of all, we're all connected on the internet. I love engaging with my audience on Twitter. All right. We're pretty active on Twitter. I also love engaging with my audience on Discord, the YouTube community space, the Kick community space, Rumble, Rockfin, Odyssey, etc. And there is this problem that's coming around the horizon in regards to information. We have talked about the collapse of institutions, corporate media institutions that are happening in this country, okay? People don't trust them anymore. People don't trust the two-party political system. People don't trust corporate media. Everything is falling apart because, as the great prophet once said, and of course we cannot ignore the great prophet,
all lies will be exposed.
And everything's being exposed for what it is. But now here's where social media comes in, because whether you like it or not, social media is part of our lives. It's never, ever, 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 ever going to go away. All right, that's just wishful thinking. Always has been. I mean, it's never going to go away. It's here. Social media is part of our lives. Okay, it's never going to go away. And if you think it's going to go away, hey, you're mistaken, because we need it. But as soon as it starts getting suppressed and you can't post, and again, I know that there are bad people out there that abuse speech, but how do you stop hate speech with good speech? How do you, again, the world is filled with a lot of good people, and yes, there are bad people out there, but as soon as you really start putting that jackboot of censorship, even if it's against a bad person, you want to stop a bad person, then good people need to come together. Evil must be opposed, right? True evil. But sharing ideas, communicating with people. I am proud of the diverse audience that I've built on this platform. And I know for a fact there's a lot of things we agree with and a lot of things we disagree with. But at the end of the day, I know I can have an adult conversation with somebody who could say, hey, maybe you haven't seen this perspective. Maybe it won't change my mind, but I could see that perspective, or I can understand it, or either that, hey, it did change my mind and I made a mistake. I was wrong on an issue. I can do that. Do you feel confident in Big Brother, the government, or corporations making that decision for you? No, I don't. And I'm pretty sure all of you would agree, no, you don't feel comfortable with them making that decision either.
They did all this stuff, and it turned out that all the things they were saying were either lies or were incorrect.
Correct.
And there's no repercussions. And so you're seeing all this in real time, and no one on the left has any problem with it, which
I think I'm going to say your name wrong, but the Chisholm Wire. All right. Hey, good to see you guys. The bot conversation needs to happen on a larger scale. Most people's opinions are being formed by dead internet bots that simply curate and cultivate people's worldview, mind control magic. And and AI, listen, AI is going to be a powerful tool. And I'm actually very afraid of this Blade Runner 2047 future that we're going into. I'm not too excited about it. I'm actually a little nervous about it, folks. What is real and what is not real?
to me is insanity. And the people that do have a problem with it, their solution seems to be to just go to the right. They don't even feel like you can reform the left. People are just like Tulsi Gabbard becomes a Republican.
Yeah.
People are just abandoning this. Like, I can't talk to you people.
That's right. I'm doing an event with Tulsi Gabbard tonight in Pennsylvania. Actually,
I
love her. She's awesome. And I think she basically decided the left cannot be reformed in this country anymore. That's what happened with Bobby Kennedy. That's what's happened with a lot of old.
It's bigger than that. Look, you can't reform the Republican Party. Sure as hell can't reform the Democratic Party. The issue with the progressive movement is that it never had true leadership to begin with. The main problem with the Democrats is that they tried to emulate the corporate Republicans. And by doing so, they tried to build this fake coalition, putting on this fake show, saying they care about all the social issues. And then, of course, hyping up further division and divide. Then you have that nutless wonder Bernie Sanders. You have fake people like AOC and the Squad coming around. It's just, it doesn't work. And the people that they have cultivating the things that they stood around with, such as Me Too and Time's Up, Me Too and Time's Up failed in its mission. They never held men who support the Democratic Party who have committed crimes, because it had Democratic politicians who committed crimes towards women accountable. The Democratic Party has shown its hypocrisy out there. The Republican Party's filled with it too, but you can't reform it. And switching teams, going from Team Blue to Team Red, it's still part of the problem. Both parties are part of the problem. Both parties are part of the problem. The problem is the system itself. You can't reform either side. That's why I'm a double hater. That's why I'm a third party independent supporter. That's why I don't vote Democrat or Republican. It's either you fight to try and build something better, or you remain subservient to a system that's screwing us all over. They're all friends with each other. Remember that. They are friends with each other, and they don't give a damn about you. The only way you're going to learn is people start paying more attention to this.
School liberals is they say, we don't care what you do in your bedroom, but we believe in the fundamental right of people to speak their mind, and the Democrats just don't believe in that anymore.
So
and I've thought a lot about like what's what is going on there and what's driving it psychologically. And I think
I wouldn't say I would say that they're more neoliberal Democrats than I would call them progressives, but cucked for the war machine with quickness. They are done. Look, I'll be the first to say this here, because I covered a lot of activists and organizers, and they sure as hell disappeared after Biden got in office. There's got to be a big reform in regards to what's going to happen on the left, if there ever is going to be one. Because whatever credibility they had, especially those in Chicago, and if Trump wins, there's certain people I'm looking for. Hold on. If Trump wins and the first protest happens at Trump Tower here in Chicago, there's going to be a lot of people I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm going to be like, where were you, you pink pussy hat MFers? If there's going to be another women's march like there was in Chicago when Trump got elected in office, I mean, there was so many people that showed up, and I'll never forget that December day. It was actually 70 degrees here in Chicago. 70 degrees, and so many pink pussy hats out there. Pink pussy hats all over Chicago. Where are you people at? Where's the great army at? Where are all of you? Oh, that's right, you're at brunch. You yellow belly cowards. Anyways, Maybe I'm being mean.
I think what's going on is the entire modern Democratic Party grew up in an era where there was consensus, right? Walter Cronkite could say something about the Vietnam War, and it turned out he's probably right about that, actually. And it collapsed public support for the Vietnam War, where they grew up in America where social trust was just so much higher. And I think that a lot of them are trying to reimpose that social trust on from the top, not recognizing that that high level of social trust came organically from the way that American society worked. And if you have people trying to reimpose it from the top, it actually degrades the very thing that you're trying to create. Because I've seen, I mean, family members of mine who got really radicalized because they were like, wait a second, should we be masking 3-year-olds in our schools? Like, does that do something to their language development? And then they would get kicked off of Facebook because a person with 900 Facebook friends who has no public profile dared to like question the prevailing narrative. And again, they ended up.
Now, look, I think we were all, shoot, I mean, when I went to Japan on Christmas Day of 2019, I mean, little did I know the whole world would be crazy. I'm so lucky I made it back home. Because if I didn't make it back, because there was a point where they were grounding all the flights, right? It was like sometime in mid-February, and like I came home like the first week of February. You know, all these lockdowns, all this stuff. I mean, so much stuff happened. What did we lose, and what did we give up? What did we allow them to do to us? This can never happen again. They know they can get away with it now. And I, for one, am not going to stand being in an abusive relationship. Neither should any of you. Because they took a swing at us. They hurt us bad. All of us. All of us. They hurt us bad. Can never happen again.
Being right about it. I actually think that what the left is doing is degrading social trust by trying to create it from on high. And I kind of get the psychological impulse because, you know, like a lot of great things that we do come from high levels of social trust, but you've got to reestablish it organically. You can't try to force it on people.
So what's the takeaway from this? First of all, yes, he did a 4-hour interview, something Kamala can't do. It's an opportunity missed. Perhaps, maybe, I don't know, Timmy will go ahead and, I don't know, show up on Rogan's podcast. But again, it's a chance for more views. But as people have brought up in the chat, including some of my moderators, Kamala can't do a 3-hour interview, not just because she can't speak. All politicians can. It is the more Kamala speaks, the more people realize that she absolutely sucks, which is what happened to her campaign in 2019. Hell, she didn't make it to the first primary state. So that's the issue with Kamala. Okay, that's the problem with Kamala Harris. Okay, the more she talks, the more people realize she sucks. But the thing is, too, how dare you impose then? Oh, you're going to meet me here, and we're going to record it. I'm willing to bet Kamala's team will be telling Rogan, you got to edit this out. You got to edit this out. You got to fix this. You think Rogan's going to keep quiet about that? It's either you're authentic or you're not. Either you're going to go on the most popular podcast, which again, it's lightning in the bottle. It works perfectly. You should go there. Get more views. I don't know. Maybe train up. Don't do a word salad. You're being called out. Donald Trump called you out, and now his VP running mate called you out. November 5th, we'll see what happens. But if Trump does win, the liberal meltdown will be glorious to watch. But for everyone holding on to hope that somehow the Republicans will save the day, it's all one big club. Don't rely on a political party or its politicians to save you. Can anyone recall a time when that's ever happened in this country's history? Anybody? Anybody. And yes, there are maybe a handful of good leaders here and there, but they're few and far between when the whole crop is rotten.